Real Madrid went 2-0 versus Sevilla. Let's get straight into it. Make sure to like and subscribe. And let me just say this, right? Because I'm happy for Mbappe. I'm happy for the 3 points. But that performance was embarrassing. The first 15 minutes, Sevilla could have been 2-3-0 up. And for the first 15 minutes of the first half and the first 15 minutes of the second half, Sevilla could have been scored 2-3 goals in each of those 15-minute periods, right? It was very embarrassing. Those 15 minutes in both halves were truly embarrassing. We would lose every ball. We would lose every defensive duel. We would lose every duel in the air. And a lot of those mistakes in the first half were due to Dean Housen being slow on the ball, being not taking his time, his sweet time of trying to look for a perfect pass when he could do easy passes, trying to do something, look up, look around, take his time on the ball. And Dean Housen got caught off guard two, 3 or 4 times in that first half. I was mad. I was embarrassed of how his performance was going in the first 20 minutes. He got the hang of it a little bit afterwards, but even that, it was pretty average performance by Dean Housen and by Rudiger. Rudiger also was very bad, but Dean Housen on the ball, Dean Housen's thing is meant to be off the ball, on the ball, playing out the back, good passes, long range passes. That Dean Housen is meant to be one of those center backs. And when he's doing even bad on that, it it was an embarrassing 15 to 20 minutes and pretty bad game by Dean Housen for the full 90 minutes. But once again, the guy Thibaut Courtois saves us again. One of the chances Alexis Sanchez slips, but Courtois for the rest of the other chances blocked, coming out of his line, being an amazing goalkeeper. I love Thibaut Courtois. He saved us so much, not just this season, but the last 3 years. Thibaut Courtois has saved us so much. And then in attack, Rodrigo, he's been the guy of the attack. He's been the dangerous attacker. Every time he's on the ball, he creates something. He does something. He builds on play. He starts play. He attacks. He's direct out wide in the centrally. He everywhere. He's been so dangerous everywhere. And I was pretty let down by Vinny today. He had moments. He had 3 or 4 moments throughout the whole 90 minutes, but for someone at the level of Vini Jr., having 3 to 4 moments in 90 minutes and then getting taken off, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Him taking off and all that, taking his picture off the Real Madrid picture off, commenting with just the periods and dots. I'll talk about that in a bit, but let's talk about Rodrigo because today he was our outlet. He was the guy who would try and do something, create something, and then he got fouled near the area, and he took a pretty it was a very good free kick. It was a very good, well taken free kick. Crosses a perfect cross to Jude Bellingham, who I think who was very good today. He was one of our standout players today. He would fight for everyone, but don't get me wrong. Those 15 minutes in the first half, he was losing so many balls. He was misplacing a good amount of passes. Jude Bellingham was at fault a lot for the first 15 minutes, but from then he got the hang of it. He was one of our midfield. Well, he was our best performing midfielder. Let's be honest, because our midfield has been pretty bad. And one of the guys I want to talk about is Ariel Chouameni, who it's hard to understand, right? Because I've seen him have amazing performances for France. I've seen him have amazing performances in past El Clásicos. But as of lately, he's so inconsistent. And then when he doesn't bring his defensive attributes to the game, his ball playing isn't the greatest. It's not the best. There's been moments where he does long passes, where he does these like soft, easy, like pass and move type of plays. But as of lately, and honestly, throughout this whole Real Madrid period, Auriel Chouameni has been so inconsistent, and the performance he put in against Sevilla, I think, is kind of embarrassing. I think he was at fault for a lot of the passes a lot of like the slow build up that we had was pretty much due to him. He was pretty slow in build up, and when it came to his defensive duty, he was pretty bad as well. He was losing so many midfield battles and a lot of duels, a lot of one-on-ones he was losing. He was pretty bad, and he's been like that pretty much the whole season. And I think if you talk to Xavi and if you think about what he would like in this midfield, I think he would like a controlling DM, a ball playing DM, a Warden, a Vitinha, this type of Pedri type of build, Pedri, Vitinha, Adam Warden type of player in that midfield role. I love Warden. I think he would start in that DM role for us because of how good his ball playing is and what Xavi would want when it comes to that DM. And Chouameni, I thought if his defensive duties isn't going well, then I'm not sure what he brings too much to this team because he's been pretty bad. And then in build-up, he's not the best, right? Because when Camavinga comes on, you see the difference in build-up. You see the difference when it comes to him on the ball, looking switching the ball, doing passing, moving, going, building up the pitch, right? Chouameni has never been that type of player for us, right? He's always had someone next to him, and when Camavinga's on, Chouameni plays better, but when he's not playing, when he doesn't have that standout ball playing midfielder next to him, he doesn't really do too much. He doesn't look too comfortable in our team. And look, we're a team with a lot of injuries, and he is the one of the injury free player pretty much. He needs to do way better. Chouameni has to play way better for us. And yeah, I think Arda Güler was all right. I think he did a lot of defensive work, but when it came to attack, he wasn't really too well. He was one of our main pressers. His pressing was very good today. I liked his pressing, how intense he was. But Vini, Mbappe, I know Mbappe has a goal. I know I'm happy for him. He tied Ronaldo record, but it was a pretty bad. It was a very bad game by Mbappe. It was a very bad game by Vini, in my opinion. Rudiger Hausen was very bad. I think Frank Garcia was all right. I don't really expect too much from Frank Garcia, especially when we know he's not going to start. Asensio, I think he's been one of our most consistent defenders. Asensio has been pretty good for us. I think he's been very solid. He hasn't done many mistakes. But on the other hand, Hausen and Rudiger do have mistakes on mistakes on mistakes. In that second half, they were getting played with. It would be 3v2 with three of us versus two of them, and it would take two of their attackers to create a dangerous plays against us. And it was embarrassing. It was truly embarrassing. Every time they pan to the stadium and they look at Solari and Roberto Carlos, they were never smiling. If we didn't, they were, even when we scored, they weren't smiling. Solari, who I think he's one of the directors of something in at Real Madrid, he was never smiling every time the camera panned to him. Roberto Carlos was never happy. Florentino smiled only when the goals happened. And it's weird. It's a weird moment, right? Because we got the win. We got the 3 points. Mbappe broke the record last game of the year. But once again, I'm not convinced at all. And I'm sure 99% of Real Madrid fans that saw the game know that this was a terrible game. It was a terrible performance. We could have lost. We could have been 3-0 down by halftime. That's how bad it was. Yes, we hit a couple of posts in the second half, but by the time those posts hit, the crossbar hit, by the time those chances came, we might have been 3-4-0 down if it weren't for Thibaut Courtois and a couple slips here and there. Because yes, they genuinely slipped a couple of times in dangerous moments. Alexis Sanchez is the one I remember. He had a chance right in front of the goal. He slips. He literally slipped, and that's what stopped everything. If not, they would have been 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 down. It was an embarrassing performance. And then I want to talk about Vinny, right? Because he comes off, he gets taken off, go game ends, goes back to the locker room, gets on his phone, posts about the win, takes his Real Madrid picture off of his Instagram post about the win, puts just period, just dots, 3 4 dots, right? The usual like nothing to come with, right? And look, he had the captain's armband. Yes, Vinny had the captain's armband. And to go back to the locker room and do that childish things, like I've been backing Vinny. I still back Vinny. I have a soft spot for Vinny. I still back Vinny. But wearing the captain's armband and then doing that on social media and all doing these things are just childish, in my opinion. Like, genuinely, you guys know me. I back Vinny and I still back Vinny. But if you're wearing the captain's armband and then you go back and do that childish thing on social media, taking off the Madrid picture, but posting the Madrid thing with only the dots, I find it pretty childish, and I back Vinny. I'm one of the Vinny supporters. In recent times, a lot of fans have been trending. He got booed. I'm pretty sure that's part of the reason why. But you're wearing the captain's armband. You're literally one of the veterans of the team right now. You have the captain's armband, and then you go on and do this childish stuff. Like, come on. This is what I don't understand. This is what I thought. A lot of players, when they get the captain's armband, they genuinely mature. They look better. I remember Trent at Liverpool, I think like last season or the season before, he got the captain's armband. He looked more mature. You see Rafinha at Barca, he gets the captain's armband and he feels like he has an extra responsibility. Vinny had got the captain's armband, and then he got booed because he had a terrible performance. He's had a terrible year and a half. It hasn't just been this season. It's been an inconsistent for a year and a half now. And then you go on and do that thing, taking off Madrid off your page profile picture, posting it with the dots. Come on, like genuinely, come on. Like if he was performing at an amazing, amazing state, then it would make sense, right? But right now, you're playing bad. You were wearing the captain's armband. You have 2 to 3 moments per game, and then you expect to play in full 90 minutes. That's not how it goes, man. That's not how it goes. And Xavi, right? A lot of people are calling for Xavi's head, and like I said, I'm not buying any stock, I'm not buying stock in Xavi out. I'm not buying stock in Xavi in. I want to see how things work a little bit. If we're too out of range of Barcelona, then I would say look for another manager because we're out of the race anyways. But we're 1 point away, and it sucks, right? Because I see the performances week in week out. I watch this team week in week out. Sometimes I even rewatch the games at night so I could analyze it correctly, right? And I just don't see it getting better. I rewatch our games. Believe it or not, I rewatch the games at night. I rewatch it. I watch the games again, and then I try and look for something positive, but nothing changes. I watch 2 3 hours. I watch the Madrid game. I watch analysis of people on the Madrid game. Then I rewatch the game to just look at it more, and I don't see any improvement. I genuinely don't see any improvement. Some players are improving, like Rodrigo. Like I said, Camavinga coming on has improved us. When Trent came on, you could see improvements. But as a collective, as a team, we don't look better. Defensive, we look worse, and in attack, we still can't break teams down. And we still, when we create, we aren't as effective as we would like to be. As Mbappe scoring goals, but I wouldn't say we're too effective in goal. Vinny hasn't been effective, and he's been inconsistent for a year and a half now. Rodrigo's barely getting back to form. Jude is one of those players who has been have to sacrifice himself for the team when it comes to defensive duties. Vinny and Mbappe are going to defend, so Jude has to defend that whole left side, sometimes by himself next to Carrera. So yeah, we won. I'm happy for the 3 points. I was gonna make a whole video about Mbappe tying Ronaldo's record, but genuinely, like he tied it in 9 less games. We have 0 trophies, and our team looks worse than it did 3 4 months ago. So I'm not too happy about it. I'm glad for Mbappe. I'm happy for the 3 points, and let's see what's next, man. Because our next game, I think, is still in January 4th or 6th or one of those days. Let's see if Xavi comes up with something. Let's see if the players finally live up to what they're meant to be. And let's see what happens. Enjoy the break. Because when we come back, look, I might be the break is coming, right? January 4th is when we play again. And I'm gonna miss the games, right? I'm gonna miss the games, but the stress of watching our team struggle week in, week out, we'll see what happens. I hope Xavi figures something out. Who knows, man? I'm genuinely confused on what's gonna happen to us. I genuinely don't know. So past seasons, I'm like, okay, we'll figure it out by January, and our players will step up by that time. But by things are looking right now, who knows? With Vinny acting like this, with Chavi's job on the line, with players starting positions, you never know. You never know. Let's see what happens. Real Madrid get a victory. I'm happy for the victory. Mbappe ties Ronaldo's record. I'm happy for Mbappe. But let's see where this takes us. Let's see how it goes. Peace.